Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where, I'm not sure what's going on. Reynold, what are you up to? Hello officers. What are you doing? Why are you sitting down with them? Hello? Hi, what are you going to do, Reynold? Hello everyone, Sam here. You want to tell them everything. What do you mean you want to tell them everything? You're going to tell them the story so far, because it's been over 400 episodes and everyone's, including me, is getting a bit lost. To police officer dog type people? Really? Apparently. Okay, you go. First there is Serenity, represented by Reynold. Okay, she's actually called Ioni. I wasn't doing YouTube at the time, just go with it. Okay, she's called Reynold now. Serenity was a quiet, peaceful place where not much happened, because it's on a switch light and you can't record on one of those. But soon after came the island shrouded in mystery. Miranda. You have to say it like that. Basically because it's on a switch that never worked in the dock. I have issues with that, Nintendo, I'm just saying, but because of that, it's surrounded by mystery, okay? Now, this island has a load of history that you can find in my book. Have a look in the description down. I wrote a book, I wrote it in a month, okay? The spelling's probably atrocious, as is the grammar and everything else, but I wrote it and you can buy it on Amazon if you're interested in what happened. But basically, there was an explosion. And as the representative of Miranda, Leader Anne decided she would put herself in penance. She left Miranda and, let's just say, swam to another island, to Portsamion, because I find it funny to put my name in things, where she built that island up and imprisoned herself on it. Because it's the prisoner's island. If anyone gets that reference, just put the comment down below. I'll be really happy with it. But here's where our story really starts, or where the YouTube stuff starts. Leader Anne, under the cover of really bright fireworks in the sky, decides she's ready to move on. She's still not ready to go home, but she's ready to move on from Portsamion. And under the cover of those really bright fireworks, she swims away. She starts a new island called Haven. And life goes on. Reynold on Serenity and Leader Anne on Haven. Soon somebody else appears. Someone called Monty. Actually, her name is Lilibeth Montgomery, but that won't fit, so we call her Monty. And her island is called Fort Whimsy. For no particular reason, I just thought it was cute. And again, life goes on. They meet up. They join each other for New Year's. Everything is absolutely fine. Until Monty buys herself a doctor's coat and decides to be a mad scientist and start running experiments. This does not end well. And as time and the shenanigans go on Dr. Monty's Island of Doom, which she has renamed it, a tent appears on her island. And shortly after, another explosion. But just before we see, coming out of the tent, a terrifying, all in pink, with bunches and gauze over one of her eyes. I put scary music over it. It was scary. Out comes Decca. And here we begin. Decca comes to Doomtown. I really had fun with naming these back then. I need to get back into that. After the explosion, things settle down, but now there's a huge volcano in the middle of the island and two little people battling to own it. Well, Monty's battling. Decca, actually, she just kind of wants a friend. You know, she was a little lonely and she just wanted a friend. And they battle, and Serenity gets involved, because actually, Reynold is Decca's older sister. Oh yes, and as it turns out, Leader Anne, she's Monty's older sister. I know that the plot is it's too much for me to follow. It took me ages to write all this down, I'm just saying. Meanwhile, Leader Anne, now calling herself O'Neill, although she was calling herself O'Brien, I got a little confused. Basically, Reynold and Monty's second name is O'Brien. Leader Anne and Decca's second name is O'Neill. And Leader Anne was calling herself O'Brien to hide, and then I I messed it up and now she's on it. That's just how this happens, okay? I'm plotting it out now. This is 400 videos in. I'm doing my best with the mess that I actually created myself. But anyway, so Leader Anne decides to settle on her island. She plays her maracas and we leave her there. Because at this moment, oh yes, another explosion. The volcano exploded. Why anyone thought it wasn't going to explode? They kept playing in it. And Monty and Decker wake up on their own island each. Monty's on Montopolis and Decker is on Balloon Bay. And life goes on. Reynold helps, playing the Serenity games, giving them little bits here and there. And then, well, something else happens. Bob was created. This was to help change the island representative. It was a whole thing and actually my most watched video. So yay Bob. But Bob was basically just created as a stopgap to do all that business, and then Bob was just there, left on his own, on an island, without any home of his own, just a tent, and everyone ignoring him. Meanwhile, we meet Campbell over on Serenity, who she was always there, it's just we never saw her before, and she is Decker's twin sister, but dresses in blue, whereas Decker dresses in pink. Also, there's a message from Miranda. It's from someone called Leland, Monty's twin sister. Oh, you see, it's getting deep here. Decker decides to try growing up a little bit and does the career challenge, basically Animal Crossing on hard mode. And here I may have made a little mistake. Completely separately, I made a sim version of Monty and a sim version of Decker, and this may have helped with a few things later on. We just don't fully know the science behind it all, but that's yet to come. A little while later, a tent appears on what is now Balloon Bay, Decker's island. A mummy comes out. At first, Decker is scared, but no, she decides to try and befriend this mummy. She remembers being just stuck on Monty's island, and Monty was really quite mean, and then there was all these explosions, so she starts planting flowers and leaving little outfits, and eventually the mummy comes out. It takes off its bandages and reveals Monty's face. It's a clone of Monty, very cleverly called Montu. Meanwhile, there's a lot of meanwhiles, Monty is going a little peculiar. Green mums are appearing on her island. She's starting to wear pretty pastel colours. She's starting to run around in circles and wear the green mum in her hair. She is becoming cutesy. This is about the time we start seeing Faith just wandering around. A koala, so she says. It looks like an outfit to me. She's wearing koala skin, you know she is. This is the time where Monty refuses to move any of the mums. She just sort of runs around them and sits and looks dopey. She also decides to visit her old home, Miranda. And there is a new tent there too. And Leland, her newly found twin sister, is missing. She's left a bulletin on the board saying, "Help!" in very big letters. Campbell, meanwhile, again, decides she wants to move to Bobble Bunch. She wants to move out and help her sister. But there's trouble on Miranda. Montu disappears. Over on Miranda, there's eggs everywhere. Just eggs. Multicoloured eggs. Monty searches the island. Her memory's somehow fuzzy. You need to read the book for all that stuff. But anyway, she finds a broken science lab and a mummy in a cage. She finds herself captured, and the mummy is revealed to be Leland. Faith is still hanging around. You told me that's a koala. Monty and Leland escape. You'll find they do find it very easy to escape and very easy to be trapped in this. It's just a thing. Go with it. Just go with this. They find the tent, but it's now a house, and inside there's a game show set. They manage to escape somehow, but Montu's gone missing again, leaving a basket of eggs and an antenna where her house used to be. She's moved over to Montopolis, and they try to continue with their lives. But the fate of Miranda hangs over them all. And then the truth of Montu comes out. We had believed Monty had made her. She'd been acting strange and hanging around Bob's tent. Then suddenly, Bob disappears and Montu appears. And there's a winnowing machine in Monty's attic, that nothing good can come from one of those things. But Monty doesn't recognise Montu. Monty never made her. She was going to get Decca off her back, because Decca will not leave Monty alone. She wants her as a best friend, but she's kind of a little annoying to Monty. But she changed her mind because she admits she didn't want to lose Decca. Aww. So who made Montu? It's about this time that Leland goes to work on Early's Island. There's an island that has appeared, completely separate, so we thought, from everyone else, just for decorating, just for building. But they were sucked in, they started trading, and now Leland is working over there. And now a shadowy figure appears with maracas. It's Leader-Anne. Leader-Anne has returned to help her family. Monty goes on a hunt and meets Mira from Miranda. Miranda has some serious issues. It cannot be ignored any longer. They must return. So Monty resumes her sciencey persona and creates a pipe somehow that leads straight to Miranda. Meanwhile, Montu runs away wearing a magical robe. She just does what she wants. She's finding herself, okay? Oh, did I mention Montu has an antenna sticking out the top of her head? I can't remember if I said that. It's quite important. When she took off her head bandages, there's an antenna sticking out the top of her head. Decca, who has the antenna Montu left behind, puts it on and goes extremely loopy. But she sees someone dressed up as Zipper T. Bunny. I don't think you understand how much Leader-Anne and Monty hate Zipper T. Bunny. There are reasons. It's in that book I keep mentioning. It's down below. There's a link. I'm just saying. Monty and Leader-Anne return to their home, Miranda, and search the house again. In the game show room, Zipper T. Bunny comes in. But it's not Zipper. It's Bob. Long lost Bob. He's taken on the persona and the outfit of Zipper T. Bunny. He's now Zipper T. Bob. Or Bob's T. Bip Zipper. He's one of them. Montu, meanwhile, sees Decca's distress, wearing the antenna, and she rushes to the airport, sword in hand. Well, it's on her back, they can't hold the sword, but she's got a sword. She goes to Miranda, and she tries to reach Monty, but she malfunctions. This is when we realise it's Bob who made her, and she can't get past his control. So Decca must put the antenna on again and control Montu's movements. Meanwhile, Bob tells Monty who wins the game. They play a game. It's the highest number wins. Anyway, again, we're stuck with what Animal Crossing gives us, okay? I had a wheel. We did it like that. Bob, Zipper T. Bob, takes Monty into a back room and sits her down. He tells Monty the story of how he was cruelly set aside. It's kind of my fault, to be honest, but we'll ignore that. With no island, no home, no purpose. He found Zipper T. Bunny trapped in a pipe on his long voyage and adventures. That's a whole other thing. Whole other thing. That's also in the book. I'm just saying why Zipper was in there. It's a thriller. That happens. He took on Zipper's persona, identifying with him, lost and alone. In the room with Monty is a winnowing machine. I told you those things were bad. Bob glances at it, but seems to change his mind and leaves. Monty follows to see that the others have already gone. Escaped! She's so glad. Outside, she sees that Bob has dropped a pumpkin lantern. She grabs it and runs. Back to the airport, back home to Montopolis. And it's almost Christmas time now. Monty puts down the lantern, turns it on as some sort of trophy, maybe. But as she walks away, it starts ticking. Sometimes Monty can be a little bit up herself. I'm just saying. Montu is still on Miranda, and she manages to remove the antennae, breaking any control anyone can have over her. And she talks to Bob. Bob tells him of everything that happened, of how lonely he felt. Earlier on, we saw Montu run off with Campbell. and Campbell had given Montu a present to give to Bob. And Montu gives it to him now. A tiara. Something just for Bob. Just a little present from Campbell. Such a wonderful thought. Bob's heart grows. Kind of Grinch-like, really. And he tells Montu about the bomb. Over now on Montopolis. And there's one on Miranda as well. But it's too late to stop them. And yes, there's another explosion. I think that's like 3 of them now. Montopolis explodes. And, we assumed, so did Miranda. I can't believe how long this is taking me. I've got like 3 more pages to get through. So, Monty, Leader Anne, Montu and Bob are now on a new island. They name it New Miranda. Bob is just kind of Bob now. He's just sort of runs around and he still really likes eggs. You know, he's happy. He's just happy. He's got his basket of eggs. He's just running around. He's having a whirl of a time. Bob's fine. Makes you wonder how exactly he was such an evil mastermind, doesn't it? Anyway, he does find Faith on a hunt one time. Montu is trying to find herself, trying different outfits and stuff, now outside of anyone else's control. Life goes on. But, of course, a tent appears on Bobble Bunch. I can't remember if I said, but Decca originally had Balloon Bay, but then she moved and she got these bobble bunches and she loves her bobble bunches in her hair, so she renamed an island Bobble Bunch. That's why it's Bobble Bunch. And Decca is scared at first. She puts "Stay in there" signs up and digs a moat. But again, Decca, she wants to see the best in people. So instead she starts leaving presents, hoping the person in the tent will come out. Montu goes over as well. She leaves presents. Lots and lots of wicker. Eventually the tent owner finally comes out. It's early, from the other island that's supposed to be away from all of this, from Shadow Bay. He has amnesia and he stays away from the others. But the mums, the green mums, appear again and Leland goes missing. There's a bulletin from Campbell saying, "Help, it's no." It kind of trails off and she's missing too. So Monty, desperate for answers, goes to see Early. His mind has cleared a little and he tells Monty the ballad of Wicker Ridge. Although there's so much he still can't remember, he knows that he tried to build his island and bits of it started going missing, so he'd rebuild and it'd be torn down again. And eventually somebody basically just bashed him on the back of the head. The last thing he remembers is a shock of white hair and the words, "Wicker Ridge will rise again." They realise that the few moments they had of just getting on with their lives has come to an end and they must fight again. Montu begins leaving bulletins such as, "Beware the Wicker Man." Always beware a Wicker Man, I'm just saying. It was a bit on the nose, that one. Faith, as always, is hanging around. She always seems to be in the background. Monty and Decca, heavily armoured, go to Early's island. But it's changed, and now it's called Wicker. They traverse the dangerous clown, desert and volcano-filled land until they are trapped, again, in the main house's basement, caged and forced to write their stories on these little tiny typewriters. Leland and Campbell, who were trapped there before, are now released to go home. They were used to lure the island representatives. But Decca removes her helmet. It's not Decca at all, it's Reynold. Decca is still free and with an antenna that can see through other people's eyes. And they escape. I told you it's quite easy really to escape, they just run around a lot. But on the way to the airport, they meet the white-haired kidnapper, Normal. That's his name, Normal. Then things get hazy and Christmassy, and somehow we return in the new year after a false vision of everyone at home to find Monty and Decca now stuck on Wicker, forced to get to 5 stars. Normal tells them, "One of you will win." They're pitted against each other, but somehow they find themselves helping each other, leaving things out, leaving bulletins. Monty's basically just says "buts," and the others try to keep the islands going and search for Monty and Decca. At this time, there's another new face that appears. Sally Ann, here to design islands, mainly called after berries, and to make money. She is very money orientated for some reason. And also, for some reason, she won't go into her basement. Monty, over on Wicker, finds a pipe behind a keep out sign. She leaves a note to Decker to say, do not jump in it. Of course she jumps into it. Decker, she just jumps right into it. Monty, honour bound now to protect Decker, whether she likes it or not, follows. Monty finds herself in a basement that leads out to Miranda. She and Decker are trapped again by a mummy. Normal, over on Wicker, is freaking out. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't supposed to happen. He sends a postcard to Leader Ann and tells her they were supposed to go to his niece's basement. His niece? Oh yes, Sally Ann. Leader Ann goes to Sally Ann. Ann's my middle name, so I just keep using it. There's nothing in that, by the way. Sally Ann tells Leader Ann that a mummy bribed her to put a device on her basement. And there was a kaboom, just like literally kaboom. And this transported Monty and Decker over to Miranda. Sally says she didn't know, but her guilt leads her to Penance. Basically, again, like, Animal Crossing on hard mode. Leader Ann manages to find Miranda, freeing Monty and Decker. But she's caught herself. It was all a ruse to get Leader Ann, one of the original representatives there. Another kaboom. And things go very strange. Monty and Decker, while escaping through the airport, are actually transported into the Sims. I told you it was going to be a thing. Normal, he is very sorry about all this, he really is, and spends his Christmas befriending Montu and Bob. It was very sweet. And life moves on. Sally does penance. Monty and Decker thrive in the Sims, but they want to come home. And Montu manages to put together a series of arches, helped by everyone, even early, for reasons, and makes a link to the Sims so Monty and Decker can come home. Decker had actually died on the Sims, being reborn as a baby, so Monty had to carry her through. I don't know how she felt about that. Now, Monty and Decker are on the same island again, called Montpopolis, but they can't seem to find each other. They're trapped, again, in different realities, and only Montu can see them. We think. And then, at the same time, no one noticed, but Leader Ann went missing. She appears as a baby in The Sims with a Sim clone of Montu. Monty cloned herself again, so now we have Montu twice. Montutu, really. Sally Ann, who was travelling at the time when the Archlink was created and turned on, has gone a little bit loopy, and now she thinks she's Miss Marple. She builds a new island called St. Berry Mead. Please tell me you get that. Please tell me you get that. And she gathers a load of bunnies. She is convinced a bunny did it to Leader Ann. And it was. It was Gabby, Leader Ann's long-term friend. She just wanted Leader Ann to have fun, to live her own life. Even when she settled, her family dragged her back in. And so, with the mystery of what happened to Leader Ann solved, you think Sally would be all right, but no, she's still Miss Marple. And she seems to have somebody in her basement. Either hiding in her basement or locked up in her basement. That's a whole thing. Over on Wicker, Normal, who has been stuck in Christmas most of the year and missing, returns. He's confused and staring at a plasma ball. On Miranda, Early is running around in a crown. And Leland? Well, Leland has turned green and she's running around desperately searching for Leader Ann. Oh, she's not going to like this news. So, over on Wicker, we have Normal in another plane of resistance even Montu can't see. Montu, who is stepping up and doing her best to build the island, and Bob, who he's just with his eggs, really. Yeah, evil mastermind. Over on Miranda, we have Early in his crown and Leland, very loopy, bright green, and running around, looking for Leader Anne. On Montbobble, there's Monty and Decker, but on two separate planes of existence. They're only able to communicate through the bulletin board and with Montu. Serenity is still Serenity, with Reynold and now Campbell, who moved back home. And then there's St. Berry Mead, with Sally Ann, Miss Marple, and somebody in the basement. And Leader Anne, she's living her life with Clone Montu on the Sims. Will she return? I don't know. Maybe she'll have to. Wow, what a roller coaster, am I right? Well, officers, now you've heard the story. What do you think? What do you mean you weren't listening? Why weren't you listening? You just came along for a quiet cup of coffee, and Reynold just sat down and started gabbing at you, and you zoned her out after like 30 seconds. Fair enough, officers. Okay, let's just give it up, shall we? Let's just you enjoy. You enjoy. I'm not sure if anything you said was illegal, but let's just run, shall we?